Greetings, friends and fellow citizens on the rack. This is Coach TJ, once again, sharing from the heart. As we continue to grapple, like others all around the world, with the body blows that the coronavirus is beating the world with, we shared last week around the thought of spreading community to fight community spread. Now that we are in the community spread phase, I am proposing that one way to help us to deal with all that implies and means is that we be far more deliberate and intentional about being community, living as community, and spreading that. So I want to take this idea a little further today. Over the last couple of days, one of the reports that emerged is that report about the householders indicating that they have had to dip into savings, however limited that may already have been. Dip into those savings in order to cope with the additional expenses that being at home, the children being at home, and related matters that the pandemic, the lockdowns and all of that have made to be a part of our reality. Now, this is very serious stuff. Added to that is that a number of persons have actually lost their jobs. We were engaging, some of us on Twitter, around the fact that some employers are actually using the opportunity of the work from home orders and instructions to weed out old staff and bring in new staff. Some of them are actually seizing the opportunity to downsize staff, and so they are being very opportunistic. As usual, it is typically the persons at the lower end of the income spectrum that are most affected. All of that is compounding the stress, the anxiety, the emotional and psychological impact that the pandemic is bringing. When you add to that the fact that persons have had to be inside more, less on the outside in the open space with getting fresh circulating air and all of that, entertainment activities have been seriously curtailed with very good reason. Beaches have been ordered closed, rivers have been ordered closed. That too is going to have an impact on our psychological health. Today, September 10th, is marked each year as World Suicide Prevention Day. And my friends over at Choose Life International, Dr. Donovan Thomas and his wife Faith Thomas and the team there, they are holding a large symposium today. And one of the things that has emerged so far is some reflections on the likelihood that the coronavirus and all that it throws up may have on more persons having suicide ideation and suicidal thoughts, and some may actually, unfortunately, go on to commit suicide. So back to this idea of spreading community. We have to be far more intentional about being there for each other, checking up on each other, looking out for each other. We have been encouraged to physical distance, but let us not descend into social distancing. We are social beings. We were made for community. We need each other to survive. So let's be checking on each other, especially persons who had a prior history of dealing with anxiety, depression, and certainly suicide ideation. They are particularly vulnerable during this time. So spreading community includes being more intentional about just checking up on each other and being there for each other. Find out how persons are coping. How are persons coping with all the additional expenses? This is not a time for us to descend and remain entrenched in selfishness. This is a time for the true community spirit that the older folks like to talk about a lot, where life was far more about the village and the tribe. We have deep African roots and heritage in the Caribbean, and you perhaps have heard of the concept of Ubuntu. I am because you are. I exist because you exist. And we need each other. One of my favorite songs says, I need you, you need me. I need you to survive. We're all a part of God's body. And we need to we need to prove this to be true. So check up on each other. And please let us dispense with all the madness, the vitriol, the bile, the segregation that the election process period has brought. The election is over. It is time for us to come together. It seems that there are some persons who are just hell-bent on continuing to spread anger and segregation and quarreling and mudslinging. And some people have taken refuge in the supposed anonymity and been emboldened by that sense of anonymity that social media provides, and are just spewing venom. Let's stop. There are far more important things for us to deal with as a nation right now, and we need each other if we are going to get through. So once again, I am proposing that we spread true community.